I'm Thomas Hall, Executive Director of CleanStart, and welcome to the CleanStart Perspectives. Please welcome Monique Brown, the co-founder and managing director of the Growth Factory and a partner at Growth Factory Ventures. She believes in the potential of people and the power of community, spending her time working to build impactful and resourceful networks like the Growth Factory Startup Accelerator and social venture partners of Sacramento that can be activated to unleash the potential of our local startup founders and nonprofit leaders.
Great. Thanks so much, Thomas. Thanks for the invitation to be here and present and just want to recognize you. I mean, it's true. We did meet about 7 years ago now. It seems like that's not possible, but I'm just so honor all the work that you've done with Gary in the CleanStart community, through COVID, through, resource constrained environments, just being scrappy and committed and really lifting up this community. So thank you for everything that you're doing. And thanks for having me again. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So like Thomas said, I am co-founder and managing director of the Growth Factory, which is not going to advance the slides. Let's see. There we go. Was founded on the premise that, of this concept of the power of with. And it's something that, I've worked with Mark Haney, who's one of my co-founders for a number of years. And we share the belief that, if the right people come together around the right things, magical stuff can happen, right? And so the Growth Factory is kind of the next iteration of a lot of things that Rick, Mark, and I have been working on over the last 7+ years in the community, and really just trying to bring it together in a new and hopefully more impactful way. So what are we? We are a nonprofit startup accelerator with an accompanying venture fund and something we call the backyard advantage, which is for us the power of with. And the backyard advantage is really the people of Sacramento, our partners like CleanStart, like Startup Sac, like the Carlson Center, but also the business leaders, the mentors that are jumping on board, the investors, all rallying around our founders to build truly great companies here in our region. And ultimately, what does that lead to but a thriving entrepreneurial culture and a thriving economy? So that's our vision. Let's see, this is our first cohort launched in September of last year with 15 companies and some amazing human beings in the building working on some pretty cool stuff. We believe in Sacramento. I won't run through all of this data for you, but we think that there are so many assets and ingredients that the time is now that we're primed for this to happen. And we have leaders in a lot of different positions, again, who've been doing this work for a number of years. And Gary, I think Gary is like the father of entrepreneurship in Sacramento. Laura has been pushing rocks uphill for any number of years, like absolutely willing entrepreneurship into reality here. So I think that, there's just been a lot of groundwork laid and we feel like the time is right to activate that. Why is this important? As our entrepreneurs succeed, our whole community succeeds, right? And I think everybody here who is an entrepreneur knows this, right? New jobs are created. Each job that's created in a high-tech venture creates 5 other jobs in different sectors. And, the wages that are provided through these high-tech, high scalable growth opportunities are higher than your average job. So one of the things that we are envisioning is, building the world's most connected community. And again, this is that backyard advantage by bringing expert mentors, corporate and civic partners, community partners, engaged investors. If we can bring all of those together under one big tent in support of our founders, we think that great things can happen. We had 75 applicants for our first cohort. We selected 15. We deployed just over $500,000 in capital into those companies 46% of them were female founded companies. We're really striving to build diverse cohorts, and we'll continue to work on that as we move forward. We are a pre-seed seed stage accelerator in the Sacramento region, focused on Sacramento founders. What this means is it's hard for us to slice by industry. We're not doing that at this point. So we take all comers. We have people in this cohort that represent life sciences, med tech, clean tech, enterprise SaaS, B2C, consumer solutions. And it's a wide range, right? We say pre-seed or seed stage companies. In Sacramento, that can look like anything from pre-revenue MVP product that's not yet in the market, all the way to one of our companies that hit nearly 2 million in ARR last year and is rapidly growing their team and heading towards a Series A. So it's a wide range of people, industries, and even where they're at in their journey. Several of these founders have done this before, so it's not their first time, doing this. But many of them are first-time founders, right? And so, what we invest in are the people, first and foremost. And then obviously, we're looking for innovative solutions addressing sizable markets. With the accompanying venture fund, we do have a need to and a desire to provide a return on the investment of our LPs into that fund. The accelerator comes alongside the fund and really does a lot of that capacity and network building for the founders. But at the end of the day, we know that if we invest in committed, people with a vision, a passion, a purpose, that they'll figure it out, right? There's going to be bumps in the road along the way with regards to the solutions and go to market and, team building and all the other things that come into play when trying to grow a company from nothing. But if we invest in people who are learners, who are strivers, and who have a true passion and commitment for what they're working on, that the chances are that together we can figure it out. The fund was we were targeting a $10 million fund. It's our initial fund, so it's small, micro VC. But one of the things that's really important to us, and that's probably different from a lot of the other funds that you'll meet, is we actually wanted the maximum number of investors involved in this fund, which is 99 as capped by the SEC for the fund size that we were targeting. And so why? Because we believe that our limited partners can be more than just capital. And we are screening our limited partners just as we're screening our companies for people who are local and want to be engaged in this community and that are committed to giving more than just a check. They're willing to have us pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, founder XYZ needs an introduction to A, B, and C, or, our founders need support with marketing strategy and you own a marketing agency, can you dig in with them for a little bit, right? These are the things that together we all have skin in the game, and we really want the involvement of these, we call them the 99, our 99 limited partners involved in our community. The other thing that's really notable about this, and I think is new, is that I think the number, and I have to check with Rick, so I don't print this, but at last conversation, 70% of these LPs were new investors in this asset class. What does that mean for Sacramento? It means that we are activating new local capital into this effort, which is huge, right? Because these investors are learning about this asset class and hopefully dipping their toe in the water. We'll do our best to provide them with a great experience, right? And connect them with really compelling founders. But that done well and done right, that means that, there's more to come, right? We can build on this. And so we're looking at investing in 100 companies over the next 4 years. So if you do the math, $10 million fund at 100 companies, you can surmise that we're not writing really large checks. Initially, our pre-seed companies start at about $25,000. If they're generating revenue over a certain threshold, threshold. That initial check size can be up to $50,000. We do have capital reserve for follow-on funding. So as the companies go through the accelerator program and demonstrate meaningful traction, there is an opportunity for additional checks to be written by our fund into the company. But in addition to the checks that we write, these 99 limited partners and their networks of people are already, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 months into this. I don't know how, like almost, I guess it's 4 months, 5 months into this, right? We've already had our limited partners and their network write direct additional checks into the companies we're working with. And the Growth Factory Ventures will be crafting SPVs for additional investments into the highest growth potential companies. So that initial check is just the beginning, but it goes with this backyard advantage and the opportunity for follow-on capital. We, unlike other accelerators in the world, although there are many, many different models, the typical model that you'll see is 12 to 16 weeks of really intense support, and then a demo day, and you're off to the races. We built this because we're building not just companies, but community. We've designed it to provide 12 months of structured support. Once you're a part of our community, you're always a part of our community insofar as you want to be. So even beyond that 12 months, we're here and actively engaged. But there's kind of 3 main areas that we focus on during the program. And I'll just caveat that we are also a startup. And so what this looks like in day-to-day practice is continuing to evolve and change as we learn from our founders what's most effective and valuable, and what is a nice to have, but not a need to have. And, we want great and need to have stuff in our programs, and the nice to have stuff, we're going to limit that because our founders are super busy. So anyways, 3 areas of focus. Market acceleration is the first area of focus, and that's really around traction, right? It's, without this, the rest of everything on this slide doesn't matter, right? We have to be able to demonstrate that we can get to product market fit. And there's some stages along the way that you can test that demand, that desirability, and the viability of the business model. And we really dig in there first. And that looks like early pilot projects, early, customer tests, messaging tests, and other things, depending on the company, where they're at, what they're selling, who they're targeting. There's a lot of variables in there, but we build a traction roadmap along with the companies to identify what they need to do to get to product market fit. The second thing beyond that is the get fundable thing. So pre-seed, seed stage companies, these founders have taken the first steps in a very, very long fundraising journey. If you have done this before, venture backable companies, it's a long journey, years of fundraising at different stages of company growth, right? And so we're looking at helping to get them set up for that journey, initial asset creation, network building, best practices around investor communication, helping to build fundraising strategy, helping to make introductions and the like. In our experience, and I've learned from other accelerators around the country that it is not unique to us here in Sacramento, but founders really grossly underestimate both the time and energy that it's going to take to raise the dollars that they need, right? They are such believers in what they're doing. They, often feel like, hey, this is so obvious. It's so important that I just need to say it and somebody's going to write me a check. Unfortunately, most of the time, that's not the way it works. I know that there are times when that does happen, but, it's a long journey. And in particular for the founder / CEO, it can be an incredibly stressful one as you try and raise money while building a company at the same time. So this program is really designed to support that. And then the final piece is something we call Founder to CEO, built based on our work with Mark's angel portfolio. So he was one of the most active angel investors in the region prior to launching the Growth Factory. He has 50 investments in his personal portfolio, and as a team, we would work to support this company's prior prior to launching this, continue to support them. But one of the things we really realized is we have a lot of talent in this region, some pretty passionate founders who are really experts in the problem that they're trying to solve. But many of them haven't led a business unit, let alone a company before. And as soon as they start to have to hire team members and onboard investors, that founder hat begins to change to that of a CEO. And it can be a shocking and surprising change for some founders. And it's a hard journey, honestly, even for some of our more seasoned founders sometimes. So this program is designed to support that journey. So that's kind of what we do. Here are some of the members of our Backyard Dream Team. We are so blessed to have people like DJ Stefan, co-founder of SkySlab, Dale Carlson, Alex from Biz Haven, Kelly Resendez, Goodweed, and many others who've raised their hands. I think we have 80 plus now. That number is a little old. 80 plus mentors, some of the most successful entrepreneurs and business leaders in the region, people with expertise in different verticals, legal, marketing, accounting, finance, and others that have raised their hands to support our founders in one way, shape, or form. And we just feel very blessed. And many corporate and civic and community partners who've joined forces in a lot of different ways. And I can't really thank them enough for all of the collaboration and just co-creation that they've supported. We have a number of events, from launch parties to demo days, mentor happy hours, investor preview days, innovation challenges, and these are different ways that we both elevate our founders and gather our community. So look for those. Many of them are, we're working on having both Growth Factory community for those that are already in the community events. We have a lot of private events, but looking at how we can open some of those up to the broader community. And I think I'll just leave it with this, this is a Markism, as we say. Mark has all these amazing sayings that just come out of his mouth, and then we build companies based on them. So anyways, this is the saying that really began this journey, and it's that nobody builds a truly great company alone. So it's that power of with again, with the right advisors, mentors, investors, community partners. I think we can do great things together. So thank you for listening, because that was kind of a lot, but I'm happy to answer any questions or share more information.